Welcome to the Sweet Tooth Way, where I believe in working with what you have. My video will provide valuable visuals of how I execute my cake designs without me talking and telling you step by step. Also, please subscribe by hitting that bell if you haven't already, and like this video once you see how valuable this content is. Please also visit my website and support my growing cake decoration supplies. It's time to get deep. What has been your biggest challenge for the year thus far? Is it your finances, relationship, job, weight, or family? No matter what your circumstances are, I've found that if you listen to every human being, we all have a personal challenge in some way or the other. Even when we appear to have it all physically, there seems to be so much turmoil beneath our surfaces, and we don't know how to be happy with ourselves. I, for one, have definitely had most of my challenges with my finances for the past few years, for literally past all of my life, but it is an area that I've been working on. In other words, I'm improving and learning. While my financial challenge is my own, and I'm not ashamed to say so, period, I'm aware that other people have challenges with things like being happy with themselves. Above all and everything, the first place to start is always doing your best to put your happiness first. I know this can be a very gray area because happiness is a state of mind, but many people don't believe that. To start being happy with yourself, you need to forgive yourself for anything you have done in your past that you are not proud of. If the universe allowed you a second chance, you wouldn't say or do many things you've done in your past the way you did before. There are so many ways that people are being held hostage in their own minds and keeping themselves away from the thoughts and feelings that would actually make them happy because they're still buffering on the thoughts and the negativity of the past. I know that people are hearing many creators and colleagues talk about mindfulness and mindset. And I must admit that at first it does sound a bit woo-hoo at first, but it's factual. Our minds and thoughts are huge elements in what happens in our current and future life. You typically lose the attention of many people by the time you start speaking about these things, mindset, stuff like that. Well, let me tell you, I'm not one to sugarcoat things, but I do like to give the sweet times their highlights and the bad times their highlights as well, because together they are married for life, good times and bad times. Forgiving yourself for your past mistakes is critical to happiness because you need to connect with that ability to know when to let go of thoughts and things that no longer serve you well. When you attain that aptiveness to no longer be ashamed of the things you did in your past, that nobody can make you feel bad about it anymore, that's when you know you're on your way to controlling your happiness. There are many people carrying a lot of luggage with them from the past and expect to live the life of their dreams while holding on to this weight. It's a must let go kind of scenario for you to start making room for better mindful thoughts. I remember being in a place of restlessness and unhappiness because of my failed marriage. I had to take the time to love myself unconditionally and remove the bitterness I had accumulated because I couldn't even respect men again. Even though it appeared to not be my fault, I was still responsible to pick up the pieces of my broken unhappy self, and mend that back together. This started with loving myself first. I realized that for me to love others, I had to be overflowing with that very same love to be able to give to others. Let's think about this for a second. If you are loving someone from an empty cup, how can it be love? You ought to be so happy and content with yourself that you give them from your overflow. I believe and know this is a big issue existing throughout the world, that you have people who are unhappy with themselves seeking for someone else to make them happy. This is honestly madness when you think about it deeply. Each person is responsible for their own happiness, and it all starts with forgiving yourself for all your past wrongs. Once you see your past wrongs as lessons to learn from, instead of solely regrettable circumstances, you can begin to grow from them and also be of motivation for others to do the same. Many times, it's all about our perception of a matter and what we think people are saying about, thinking about us and saying about us. This, first of all, is none of our business. We cannot control how people think about us, much less what they say about us. I remember being embarrassed to see my ex-husband's friends because of what happened in our relationship. And I was also afraid for some reason as to what they would say. But once I grew into my personal space of happiness and full appreciation for who I am, flaws and all, they no longer matter to me. So if you happen to be in a state of mind of unhappiness, I'd like to take this time to encourage you to start today by looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I forgive you. Even if there's someone or something that has drastically contributed to your unhappiness, you still have to begin with forgiving yourself so that you can forgive them as well and let go if necessary. Everyone's situation is unique, but the law is still the same. Forgiveness is necessary for you to entertain and sustain a happy mindset. Now, in my opinion, happiness isn't always about having lots of money, because you have lots of people who have lots of money and they're still unhappy. I believe there are many forms that happiness can, be found in. One, for example, is, fishing for an entire day. Two, taking time to make that trip you've long dreamt about, that tour to all the parishes, maybe say in Jamaica, on a personal note. 3, just doing things that make you feel worthy. 4, live life on your terms. 5, explore your deepest desires. 6, maybe you love doing hair. And 7, conducting community building events. It's like, do the things that make you happy. Don't just think about them, but actually do them. No matter what it is, so long as it keeps you grounded and encouraged to keep being happy with who you are. Trust me, there are far too many people already negatively speaking about you and judging you for your past. So the last person you need to beat up on you is your own self, period. Don't walk around anymore with that vibration that screams, I'm so unhappy in my life. Realistically, all you ever have is yourself. So it's imperative to reach that place of solitude within your mind where you are proud of who you are and you've said bye-bye, adios to all the things which you did in your past, because you are no longer defined by them. And guess what? You no longer live there. So I want to just break a bit and send my appreciation for you who have been listening to me all this time and watching me create this fabulous birthday cake. I do want to say thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for listening to me. And I truly hope that you find value and advice in the voiceovers that I do take the time and type out and make sure that I'm able to fully give to you guys what I feel is on my mind today. So I do want to say thank you so much. And if you're a cake decorator or if you're into creating stuff, please do hop on over to my website. It's www.sweettoothmoistcake.com and check out the supplies that I have already started off with. There's so much more to come for you bakers, you professional bakers, hobby bakers. It doesn't matter. I want to be able to present to you my version of, amazing cake decorating tools. So once again, thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, hit that bell, subscribe so that you can see when I post, right? And I post every week, every single week I post. And also give me a like. That'd be amazing. First of all, that'd be totally amazing. I see the views sometimes and then the likes are just not there and I'm like, but nonetheless, I would appreciate your like if you genuinely like this content. Thank you so much again for your time and continue to come here to see the fabulous things that I create in this world.